Hi, I'm Chief Dan Stewart of the Wilmington Fire Department. I'd like to welcome you to our production of Safety for All Seasons. This is the first in a multi-series program devoted to imparting knowledge to you, the residents of Wilmington, about your fire department, how it operates, about safety hazards that occur at various times and seasonally, and also hazards that occur throughout the year. And it's our job as firefighters, particularly myself and Lieutenant Hurley, to help impart that knowledge to you, the residents. It's also our goal from this multi-series program to provide an opportunity for you, the residents, to give us feedback, concerns, questions about how you'd like to see your fire department operate, or maybe questions that you might have regarding codes or safety tips, or just seasonal types of things such as open burning, pool safety, or Christmas events. You can contact myself at 978-658-3346, extension 210, and Lieutenant Hurley at 658-3346, extension 274. In this first program, we're going to discuss topics that occur in the springtime or leading into the summertime. Things such as open burning, pool safety, fireworks, and other topics that occur year-round. So as we get underway, I hope you enjoy this program. And again, please feel free to contact us with any feedback that you may have. We will begin in a few moments discussing individual type of hazards or individual types of concerns. The first one that I would like to discuss is, as we near the end of the flooding season, some basic preventive measures that you could take to avoid flooded basements. Primarily keeping sump pumps in operable condition, make sure they're protected by ground fault circuit breakers, by keeping your gutters on your home cleaned and downspouts clear so that the water will run away from the home, and by checking storm drains out on the street near your home and notifying the Wilmington Public Works Department if those storm drains are blocked. Another area of concern in this season, although it will be coming to a close on May 1st, is the subject of outside open burning. Outside burning is allowed in Wilmington from January 15th until May 1st. To do this, you need to receive a permit from the Wilmington Fire Department, which you can do by calling our main number at 658-3346 and leaving your name, address, and a callback telephone number with the dispatcher. You are allowed to burn branch clippings and normal debris that occurs during the winter period, provided you meet certain requirements, such as having a 75-foot hose outside your house, and also demonstrating consideration for your neighbors to not blow a lot of smoke in their direction or give them undue hardship. Another area of concern that we're looking to talk about is the area of pool safety. We can address that issue primarily with some common sense, some basic preventative measures, such as making sure that all pools, be they above ground, in ground, or the new bladder type that are sold at outlet stores, that they be protected by a fence, or they be protected for access for toddlers or other people, so they will not be unauthorized use. Also to make sure that any pumping systems, particularly in the area of these bladder systems that are sold, are protected by ground fault and installed and overseen by a licensed electrician. Also, the homeowner is advised to be knowledgeable in CPR. That's a course that they can ascertain from the Wilmington Recreation Department. They give CPR classes on periodic basis, and that would be an excellent preventative measure to help with the hazards of pool safety. Also to keep flotation devices nearby in the event someone does go into the water. Another probably less publicized concern with pool safety is the pool chemicals. Many of the pool chemicals we use to keep our swimming water purified they react when they're combined together. They're incompatible. They can cause burns, they can cause fires, so we advise that you follow the manufacturer's recommendations. Keep only the quantities that you need. Don't stock up, just keep the small amount of quantities that you need. In the event that you do end up with extra chemicals, the town sponsors a hazardous waste pickup day. This year it will be May 7th from 9 to 12 at the West Intermediate School. And at that time you can drop off pool chemicals that may be expired or other chemicals that may be touched on during the rest of this presentation by Lieutenant Hurley or myself. Another season-specific area of concern to the fire department is the area of fireworks. All fireworks in Massachusetts are illegal. Class C fireworks consist of firecrackers and cherry bombs and things like that. Those are totally illegal. It's a criminal offense to have them. So please do not use fireworks in the town of Wilmington. Please take advantage of the professional fireworks displays, which we have a tremendous one here set up by the 4th of July committee in town. There have been numerous injuries and burns from the illegal use of fireworks, and we seriously recommend that you do not use them. As far as preventative measures in the home on a day-to-day basis, the most common one and the most common cause for the reduction of fires in the United States as well as the town of Wilmington is the use and the requirement of smoke detectors. Smoke detectors are basically broken down into two areas. There are for existing homes, and particularly in the area of refinance level or the top and bottom of the stairways. And a town bylaw that you change the batteries that all homes be equipped with smoke detectors. Semi-annually, in the case that I just mentioned, at the times when we change the clocks and turn the clocks battery daylight savings operated detectors. We also recommend that required to be located outside of each separate sleeping area. Test these detectors and vacuum them to get rid of the smoke, dust and debris that could trigger a false alarm. In new construction, that's a whole different requirement. Smoke detectors for new construction, for upgrades of your home, and for additions onto your home of sleeping areas require that all of the detectors be hardwired, that be AC power or DC power, supervised by a licensed electrician, and that they be interconnected and also be equipped with battery backup. We also require that a smoke detector be for every 1,200 square feet of the dwelling. So some of these bigger homes have numerous detectors on each level. Also have a requirement in town to use the type of detector which is called a photoelectric. And those detectors are, although a little more expensive, they're much more sensitive to the ordinary products of combustion that would be experienced in a typical home fire here in Wilmington. Another type of detector that we are on the verge of requiring in the town of Wilmington are carbon monoxide detectors. Carbon monoxide is the leading cause of accidental poisoning in the United States. Part of the problem with carbon monoxide is it gives no warning. It's colorless, odorless, tasteless, and it's lighter than air. Its symptoms mirror that of the flu and food poisoning, consisting mainly of headache, nausea, dizziness, shortness of breath, and confusion. If your smoke detector, if your carbon monoxide detector activates, or if you have family members experiencing these type of symptoms and you think it may be related to a malfunctioning heating appliance, a gas dryer, a faulty chimney, or even with the new construction, the advent of Tyvek wrap for new houses, super efficient insulation, and replacement windows, that houses currently are very tight and the air does not flow in and out the way they did in the old days. And this itself creates a problem for carbon monoxide in the draft from normal venting. If you experience any of these type of symptoms, or you feel that any of these items that I have mentioned may have occurred in your house, please call the fire department and we will come out. We'll bring a carbon monoxide calibrated meter with us, and we will evaluate not only the symptoms of the people in the home, but also the conditions that may have caused the problem. And two more subject matters that I have to discuss. One is primary, should be in every home, is a fire extinguisher. The Wilmington Fire Department and the National Fire Protection Association recommend that every home have a fire extinguisher located in the path of egress from the home, so that you can grab the extinguisher and use it, or you can exit the home safely. We recommend the use of a 10-pound extinguisher, which I am holding in my hand. A 10-pound extinguisher for the elderly or the very young may be a little too heavy to use, and therefore we recommend that you don't try to use them, that you just exit the home safely. But in the event that you are physically capable of manipulating this type of extinguisher, this is the one we recommend. We recommend 10 pounds because it supplies enough additional excess agent to extinguish the fire and provide a safety margin for you. We also recommend that the extinguisher be rated for A, B, and C type of fires. An A fire being ordinary combustibles, a B fire being flammable liquids, which you make at the engine of your car, an oil burner in your basement, a grease fire in your kitchen, or a C fire, which is electrically charged. You can use this on electrical equipment. So in review, you can use this on ordinary combustibles such as paper, flammable liquids, and electrically charged equipment. In the home, you want to make sure that the extinguisher has a gauge on it and that it is in the proper charged green position. I don't know if you can see it at home, but there's an arrow in the green position, and that tells me that this extinguisher is ready to be discharged. Simply operated, the acronym PASS, pull, aim, squeeze, and sweep, is as simple as it gets to operate this. Pull, meaning to pull the pin. Aim, meaning to take the nozzle and aim it from about 8 feet away at the base of the fire. Squeeze, to depress the lever. And sweep, to sweep back and forth at the base of the fire until it is extinguished. And my final subject that I'd like to talk about is underground tanks for storage of fuel, oil, gasoline, and other types of chemicals. Primarily for the homeowner, it would be fuel oil. Over the past several years, we have had several hundred fuel tanks removed from the ground. This has been due to an underground bylaw that we have in the town of Wilmington, but probably more realistically, the economics of refinancing on homes and the fact that the banks will not issue mortgages if there is an underground tank in the ground on the property. And there's a very good reason for this. If an underground tank leaks, it is very damaging to the environment and very, very costly to the homeowner. So we recommend that any underground tank in the town of Wilmington be removed from the residents. Lieutenant Hurley, myself, and the other members of the Wilmington Fire Department are at your service to help assist you in this process to make it as easy as possible and as user-friendly as possible.
Thank you, Chief. I'm going to follow up on a few more safety tips for the home and the yard coming up for this season. Propane tanks. Everybody's going to be cooking with their barbecues. Most people have a barbecue grill in their yard, and most of them have propane now versus the charcoal briquettes. Everyone has a propane tank, and this is the tank that's on most of the barbecues. Is a 20-pound cylinder. That tank has to be kept outside of the house at all times. That tank can never be stored inside the house, inside of the basement, inside of the garage, inside of the porch. It has to be kept outside. The barbecue grill can be brought inside off-season in the wintertime if you want to store it inside your garage, but the tank must be kept outside at all times. Reason being, if there was a leak, the gas would enter the house and it could find an ignition source, and there could be an explosion and a fire. So the tanks can never be kept inside the house. When you fill your tank, you bring them to a filling station. Never leave the tank inside the car any longer than you have to. You shouldn't go fill up the tank, go shopping at Market Basket, leave the tank in the trunk the whole time you're inside the store. The heat from the sun could cause an explosion inside the car, so you want to have it filled, bring it back to your house, and hook it back up onto your barbecue grill, which is kept outside. Grills should also be kept away from the house. If you have a deck and you want to keep it up on the deck, you should keep it away from the house, and it's actually not a good idea to keep a grill up on the deck because most decks are made out of wood, and if there was a problem, it could start a fire. The grill should be kept outside in the yard, and when the grill is being used, it should not be left unattended. There should be somebody there keeping an eye on the grill and watching the food. If for some reason the bottle, is no longer good, you have to bring that bottle to the hazardous material pickup day, which is provided by the town of Wilmington, and that is May 7th. Also, to follow up on more propane, recently there was a reverse 911 message given out over the town on propane. The 20-pound cylinder that is used on the barbecue grills is okay to have by the general public. A permit is not required by the fire department. If you go with a larger tank for something used in the house, for example, your kitchen stove or your furnace or a fireplace insert, that has to be installed by a licensed professional propane company. It cannot be done by the homeowner. The licensed company has to pull a permit through the fire department in the town hall, which is the plumbing inspector. The fire department will inspect the propane installation outside, and the plumbing inspector will inspect the appliance inside the house. We found some of the homeowners in Wilmington were trying to do this on their own. They are not licensed, and we cannot issue a permit to the homeowner to do this. So it has to be through a licensed company if you can do any propane work, anything bigger than a 20-pound cylinder that's normally used for your outside barbecue grill. Next subject I'm going to touch on is candle safety. I have a couple of candles right here next to me. There's different sizes, and candles should not be left unattended. If you have a candle lit in the house, you should be in that room where the candle is being used. You should not leave the room and leave the candle unattended. Candles were used a lot of times during the holidays, around the Christmas time. Now they're becoming very popular and they're used year-round. People will have candles lit in every room in the house. If you have a pet in the house or if you have a young child, that candle could be knocked over. Now you have an ignition source, which is the flame of the candle, and it could start some combustibles on fire in your home. So it's very important never to leave a candle unattended. And there's a 10-inch radius around the candle that there should be no combustibles. There should be no paper products. There should be no combustibles, whether it be paper towels or a rag, a dish towel. So you want to have plenty of space around the candle. Another thing I'd like to touch on is lighters and matches. Everybody has lighters in the house, or they have matches in the house. For example, to light your barbecue grill, light a wood stove fire, light birthday candles. They should be kept out of the reach of small children. Always up, probably in a cabinet in the kitchen, where young children could not reach them and accidentally play with them and start a fire. Even if you do not have young children in your home, it's a good practice to keep the lighters and matches out of reach. You could always have somebody come over and visit. They could have a young child, and you're not used to having that young child in the house. The lighter is down low, and it doesn't take long before the child actually finds the lighter is curious and could start a fire. So always keep matches and lighters out of reach just in case a young child should enter your home. Next subject is house numbers. Very important that you have a number on your house. I have a couple of examples right here on the table. The number 8, there should be a nail-on number on the house next to the front door, visible from the street. If you have a tan house, you would not want to put a gold number on the house. It should be able to jump out at you from the street. So if you have a white house, you should have a black number and large enough that you can see that number from the street. If you have a mailbox at the street, they also have stick-on numbers that are reflective that you could put on the mailbox. That's an extra of having one on your home. And visible, it should not be covered by a hanging plant or obstructed by a bush. It should be visible from the street, just in case emergency personnel have to respond to your location if a call for help was made, whether it be the local police department or the fire department or the ambulance. If you have a long driveway that goes into the woods and you cannot see your home from the street, which there are numerous homes like that in Wilmington, you need to have a post with a number at the driveway entrance so we know that's where you live. Because if you called for an ambulance, we would have no idea. We could actually bypass your driveway entrance, and by the time we turn around, precious seconds could be lost if emergency care was required. So very important, check the front of your house. If you do not have a number, go to the local hardware store, get the biggest number that they sell in the color that will not blend in with the side of your house, and affix it to the front door area of your house. It should not be on the door, it should be next to the door in plain sight. Next subject will be the gasoline can, which everybody has in their home. There are different sizes and shapes. Some are plastic, some are metal. As long as they have the UL label on them, they meet the code. Just like the propane cylinder, gasoline should not be stored inside of your home. The code says that you can keep 1 quart in an approved container inside of your home. It's a good practice not to keep gasoline stored inside your home at all. If you have a shed out in the backyard, keep the gasoline in the shed. If you have a garage that's affixed to the house or under the house, do not keep the gasoline inside of the garage. Reason being is if the can was in there, and a lot of times people will not put the cover on, they'll leave the spout sticking out of the gas can. If the gas can was knocked over by accident, the gasoline will empty out onto the floor. The fumes from the gasoline will fill up the home or the garage, and there could be a fire. So it is a good practice not to keep the gasoline inside of the home. If you have a snow blower that you keep inside of your garage, do not keep the gas can with it. Keep the gas can outside or keep it inside of the shed. If you're transporting gasoline in your car, you're going to the local gas station to fill up the can, same thing as the propane tank. Do not leave the gas can in the trunk of the car for as long as it has to be there. Fill up the can, make sure it's stable inside of the trunk so it won't tip over. Bring it back home and put it inside of your shed. Do not leave it in the trunk and then decide to go shopping or go to the Burlington Mall or go watch a movie. Get the can out of the trunk as fast as possible and get it into the shed. Front and rear doors in your home. It is very important that the front door and the back door, which everybody has because that's a building code, has to be clear and accessible at all times. That's every day, 24/7, that you should be able to get to your door. The most frequent door that people enter the home is the back door. So a lot of times the front door, being in the living room, will be blocked by a stuffed chair, a couch, an end table. During the holidays, some people will actually put their Christmas tree or some kind of presents, storage inside of the door. The door must be kept accessible at all times. you should be able to open your door. If the door was painted recently or it might be stuck or jammed, make sure that you can open it freely and you can exit the house in case of an emergency. If you have a storm door on the outside, it's very important during the winter months that you keep both the front and the rear stairs shoveled at all times. If you have a storm door and you have a large snowfall, which we had this past winter, there was one storm that was over 24 inches. The storm door opens out, and if you open up the storm door, you would not be able to open the door because it would be jammed shut because of the snow and then the ice. So generally all year, the front and the rear door and the stairs should be kept clear. A lot of times people will store planters or big flower pots on the front stairs in front of the front door because it looks pretty. They should be kept accessible and kept clear. One other thing I'd like to touch on is that we teach the young kids in the schools is Edith. That would be exit drills in the home. If for some reason there was an emergency in your home due to fire, you should know how to get out of your house, your front or your rear door. If you cannot exit there, you should be able to go to a window, and you should know what window you should go to, open up, make sure you can open it, that it's not painted shut, and there should be a meeting place once you are outside so everybody in the home, if you have young children or elderly, everybody is together. And then you should call from a neighbor's house, 911, and call for help. That pretty much wraps up my safety tips that I'd like to discuss. Thank you very much.
In conclusion, I'd like to thank the residents of Wilmington again for participating in Safety for All Seasons. I'd also at this time like to thank WCTV, particularly Sandra Curtin, Tom Pizzara, Don Laird, Ron Bucchieri, and Rob Carbone for helping us promote this program. They have helped us on numerous productions, and again, they came through, and I deeply appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Lieutenant Hurley for his assistance in doing this preventive job during the year as the Fire Prevention Officer for the town of Wilmington. He does a very good job in keeping you, the residents, safe all year round. So again, thank you, and please feel free to call with any feedback or comments on the numbers that we mentioned earlier or that have been across the screen. Thank you very much.